And so I'm curious if you could give a breakdown for, let's just imagine someone who is a high performer, you know, pretty healthy, but would like to have higher levels of energy and virility and increased cognitive performance, who has, you know, let's just say an ample budget and 12 to 18 months to take things up a notch. What would the play-by-play look like from a performance or regenerative medicine standpoint for that?
That's, you know, that's the first step, is always obviously optimize the simple things. And, you know, and that's, you know, are you eating well? Are you sleeping well? Those are all simple approaches that most of your listeners know. You know, if I'm not getting adequate sleep, I don't have good, deep restorative sleep, you know, then is this other stuff going to get me there? It's might still be helpful, but it's not going to be as helpful as if we can't optimize those first. Now, there's techniques you can use to optimize those using some of these therapies. Next step, and this probably goes even above the step I just described, is making sure hormones are optimized. And I think people start thinking about hormones being optimized when they're, you know, my age, when they're 50s and 60s, and really optimally, hormones actually start declining very young. I mean, we're seeing men, you know, as young as you, we're seeing men in their young 20s even, who are hormone deficient. And COVID has worsened that. You know, for instance, after bad viruses, things like that, hormones will tank. So we're seeing now a host of young people, both men and women, who are hormone deficient. So when we have our patients come in, first thing we do is we don't throw a bunch of, you know, sort of peptide therapies at them. First thing we'll do if somebody's coming in as one of our core program clients where they want to just, hey, make me optimal, is we look at a full hormone profile. We look at a full cardiometabolic profile, so we know exactly what's happening from a cardiac perspective. What is their metabolism? What is their glucose running? Things like that. We look at a full thyroid panel. We look at a full micronutrient and basically a full panel looking at all the micronutrients that you have inside your cells. Once we have all that together, we know what we've fixed there, then we could take it to the next step, right? So I caution people, because we have people all the time come in and they want all these very cool things. And, you know, to do all these very cool things when the basics aren't there is probably a waste of money. But let's say I have somebody now, I do all that, they're great, we've gotten them all optimized. So what is the next steps? And that's where things like peptides really do come in. So peptides, for your listeners who don't know what they are basically short chains of amino acids. So protein is 50 amino acids or more. A peptide is less than 50 amino acids. So basically think of it as a small protein. And your body makes thousands of peptides, and they have very different purposes in your body. Some are there for your immune function. Some are there to help you heal. Some of them encourage normal skin growth. So they have all these different functions in your body. And then there are peptides that your body doesn't make, but we know the mechanism, so we can utilize them still to have your body do things better. So if somebody's looking at, for instance, peptides that just decline as we age, for instance, when you look at somebody, people are actually in their optimal health right around puberty, believe it or not. So pretty young. So people are like, oh, I'm great, I'm 23 years old. Actually, you're already kind of on your decline. And that's because the first thing that starts to go is our immune systems. And the reason that happens is because we have this huge gland in our chest when we're babies. It's huge. It's called the thymus gland. And it sort of tells our bodies how to immune react. So that if you get exposed to a virus, your body learns, oh, that's a virus, attack it. And it learns, don't attack me. So don't attack yourself, attack the virus. Okay. So around puberty, so you don't see adolescent kids getting long COVID, for instance, right? Because their body fights COVID and doesn't create this bad immune response, and it doesn't kind of go on. So, you know, so getting exposed to COVID for them, yeah, they may get sick, but they're likely to go on and get better and get healthy. Whereas once you're past puberty, this huge gland, the thymus gland in your body, starts shrinking. By the time you're my age, it's almost non-existent. But even at your age, in your late 20s, it's not very big. It's not doing a lot. So now you get exposed to COVID and your body potentially overreacts. It not just attacks the virus, but it starts attacking itself and starts doing damage. So why does that occur? Well, partly it's because your immune system is not as astute as it was when you were at puberty. And that's largely dependent on this thymus gland having gotten smaller and smaller. So the big sort of freaky anti-aging people are looking at, well, how do we get babies' thymus glands and transplant them into us, right? Or people are eating sweetbreads. Like in France, you eat sweetbreads, that's thymus gland, but probably eating sweetbreads isn't going to get you there. But what we can do is say, well, what does the thymus gland make? And it makes some peptides, something called thymosin alpha-1, thymosin beta-4. So it makes these peptides. So I can give you back the peptides, these small proteins that the thymus gland makes. So I can't give you back a thymus gland, just like I can't give a woman whose ovaries have failed because they're 50 years old. I can't give her back ovaries, but I can give her back what the ovaries were doing. So I can give you back what your thymus gland was doing, make you heal better, get your immune system healthy, help you recover faster, right? So if we keep those thymic peptides up throughout our life, and you can cycle them on and off, but if I keep doing that throughout my life, just like my hormones, then I'm going to have the immune function I had when I was younger, and I'll be able to fight off these diseases, react appropriately to things like cancer, diseases like that. And then our body also makes something called BPC, or body protective compound. Body protective compound is made in the gut. And it responds not just when the gut's injured, but when any part of your body is injured, your body responds by making more of this body protective compound. And it goes to help you heal and recover. So if I'm injured, for instance, you break your leg, you tear your rotator cuff, these body protective compound, thymosin beta-4, come into play. They're like, okay, we better go help him heal. So that's why if you look at, when a 13-year-old breaks their leg, they're better in 4 weeks, right? 6-year-old breaks their leg, 3 months later, they're not healed. So what if we give them back those healing peptides, right? So I can give them back BPC and give them back thymosin beta-4. I can make them heal faster. Ultimately, if I keep those at a nice level all the time, all those little injuries we get all the time are going to heal faster. So I can recover better even if I go to the gym and work out, right? Now I can recover better from my workouts. So we sort of have this group of peptides that we like to say throughout life, we cycle these on and off. We may use them more if somebody's sick or injured, then we may want to upregulate them more at that time. In general, we like to sort of keep people on a basic where maybe 4 times a year, they're getting replenishment of these peptides because their body's not making them anymore, right? No different than hormones. So that's going to keep my immune system healthier. It's going to keep my ability to heal and recover faster, better. I do a lot of work with bodybuilders, and the bodybuilders have learned these tricks for a long time. The bodybuilder world has kind of been ahead of the game. So they've been using peptides for quite some time. Now we can actually get them made in much more legitimate ways from compounding pharmacists, people like that. So I can get much safer sources. But that world has been kind of ahead of the game in optimization. When you look at the bodybuilding world, they've sort of, hey, how do I get my hormones optimized? Sometimes maybe over-optimized, but how do I get my hormones optimized, my peptides optimized so I can heal and recover and train at this kind of level?